free Golden Eagles for War Thunder. Download the app in the description below. Hey guys, welcome back to War Thunder and welcome to an update, or rather probably episode 1 of this series. I'll figure out how to title it, but for the time being, this is just before the Saturday stream is going to happen, so I don't know when this video is going to go live, but we are currently 6 hours into the account, and I wanted to give you an update because, number one, I'm extremely happy with the way this has started off. I've got some really good stuff going on, but I've also made a few minor mistakes. Not like bad mistakes, it's nothing like it's going to cost me 3 hours of time, but it's like 3 matches, you know, a little bit of OCD kicking in. So, just under 6 hours of playtime, although I think if we look at the actual timer, 2 hours in arcade planes, 1 hour in arcade tanks, we did 22 minutes in RRB, and then just under 2 hours of tanks. So in total, I think this is 5 hours if my mathematics is on point. With that said, level 6, with less than 6 hours of gameplay, and we've already unlocked Tier 2 Russian planes, Tier 2 Russian tanks, Tier 2 German tanks, and almost at Tier 2 German planes. This is where something kicked in. Now, this is something that I couldn't understand or couldn't talk about on my main account. There's a good reason why I never made a video on it. It's because I've always thought that if I want to get, let's say, the K4, I gotta go for the G6, the G2, the F4, the F1, the E1, and the B1, and perhaps even the whole stock process of the reserves. And the answer is no. For me to get the K4, I only need the F4, the G2, and the G6. And that's because the requirements don't have any arrows. You see, these arrows that are pointing down mean that to get the HE111 H16, I also need the Focke 200 Condor. Now, this is where my thought process is kicking in. I don't need the BF19B1, and I'm not going to fly the E1, and I'm not going to fly the F1. Not in RB, not in arcade, not even in tournaments. I'm not interested in any of these 3 planes. So what I'm thinking is perhaps if I want to go in rank 2 and save some time, I should go for the HE100, play this thing a lot because it's an extremely powerful plane, skip the A1, fly the A4, and then unlock the HE111 H6 and the Condor. That gives me 5 out of the 6 vehicles required to progress through. And the question is, why would I want to unlock a bomber? Because the whole point about a free-to-play account is that I don't have to go for these bombers. I don't like them, I don't want to go. But I'm thinking in advance. I want the Orado. Whilst my goal is 6.3 lineups, I don't think 6.7 is too far away from availability. Because if you think about it, I'm going to go for the Tiger 2P, and I'm going to have the Tiger 2H on research probably from the get-go. I'm going to be stuck with the Ostwind for a long time, but I don't really need any kind of push to go for the Kuidian, whilst the Kuidian remains an open point. I don't need the Panther G or the Panther F, and that really just opens the world for a new attacker, and that would be the Orado. And I think 6.7 with the Orado is a lot easier to get than the Taiwan 52C3. So my thought process here is, if I can kick off Tier 2 research on these bombers and unlock them, never buy them, never even use them, although I think I might have to buy them so I can progress through. Not a problem. Also, 6 hours, already have 236,000 silver line profit, and I've already bought one of the 5th crews. The next one will be Russia, and then I'll work my way through the American lineup. So, you know, there's a lot of these thought processes going in. For example, I made a mistake in the German tanks. I went to research the Panzer 38TA, instead of going for the Gepard. And the reason this is a mistake is because with this vehicle being unlocked, I've unlocked rank 2. But I don't need this vehicle, I need the Gepard. The Gepard is the only vehicle, or SPA are the only vehicles in the German tech tree, that I need to research entirely to be able to go down the line to get Karelian Ostwind, etc. To get the Tiger H1, you don't need the Panzer 3M. There's nothing in between these 2 tanks, there's no arrow. Which means as soon as I have 6 vehicles of rank 2, preferably the cheapest ones to research, that would be the first ones, I can progress through. Now, obviously, I can't go for the Marder 3, because that would mean researching the Panzerjäger and the Sturmpanzer and the Puma, but I can go for 1 Stug, go for the SPA that I need to go for these 2, unlock the Panzer F2 and the Panzer 3L, and then I think would be 5 vehicles or 6 vehicles. That's 6 vehicles, that's done. That will be unlocked, and I can go for the Tiger H1. So it's extremely easy to work through the tech tree. You know, in my brain, I had a memory that in order to unlock something, you had to have all the vehicles that predecessed it, and it's not the case. Gaijin has made either these changes were made, or either I've never noticed and I've been blind all my life, but this is extremely easy to progress. The Russian tech tree is a little bit different. You know, here I have to go for the T50, I have to go for the T26-4, but because I'm not going for the tank destroyers, and because I'm not going for, I call these semi-tank destroyers, or I don't even know what this line is, with the Object 906, I can also, you know, ignore this entire lineup. So with the Russians, the ease is that I only have to go through the mediums, the heavies, and the SPA. So there's a little bit less work to do here, but it is more grind intensive, obviously having to go through all of these lineups, as said. So yeah, that's a bit of an update. Sorry for the ramble of whatnot, but this is what kind of the update videos are going to be structured as, at least when it comes to the hangar portion. Now, as we do this a little bit more often, and as I start streaming and we get into later tiers, I'm also going to have a little bit more gameplay, and I'm going to have lineups that actually start forming. So at the moment, yeah, I've been working here, 2.7. You know, my 2.7 lineup is pretty weak. I don't have an SPA yet. I only have the T50. The BT7 that we got a talisman from when exiting one of the matches. This is coincidence. This happens. This could have been given to any other tank that I've unlocked. Could have been a good one, could have been a bad one. In the case of the BT7, quite lucky, quite useful, and I'll continue using it as a machine to rush to capture points and get a little bit of extra revenue every single match that we start. But yeah, for anybody that's interested and you don't have time to wait for upcoming videos, if you're just starting this challenge yourself, if you want to do a free-to-play guide, my recommendation is when you start off, the nation that you've chosen, you'll be given 1 premium tank and 1 premium plane. Use those. Use those, get them spaded, and also a big tip, when you're going through your plane grind, spade your reserves. Your reserves are the easiest vehicles to go with. You throw them into a lineup, they're free to use. I think there's almost no repair cost, if none whatsoever. Just use these, spade them, do them in arcade, so you have a lineup so you can spawn all 3 of them in, and then as soon as you start progressing through, this thing, maybe I don't recommend flying it in RB quite yet, but when you get yourself to the A0, that I'm almost ready to fly out, and probably be flying this thing out on stream before, because I'm recording this before the stream that's happening, but again, I don't know when the video is going to go out. This is going to be a great vehicle to use for RB. So 2.0, 2.3, those are the battle ratings where you can start comfortably going into realistic battles, obviously into an environment you're more comfortable with, but if you want to progress nice and slow, by all means, go for an arcade lineup. It's extremely effective and a lot of fun because they're a little bit more laid back. There's respawns, there's room for error. So yeah, overall account standing right now extremely strong. I think over the weekend, well, on Sunday I'm probably not going to play much on the account because I'm going to have some tournaments on the main one. But for the time being, this is extremely good progress. I'm very happy with the outcomes. And when I think Russia and Germany are at about almost tier 3, that's when I'm going to start also playing Americans, and I'm going to play the American lineup a little bit more safe, hopefully not making the same mistakes that I did here, even though they're just minor mistakes. You know, they're researching one vehicle, like here, you know, M2A2. Do I need this tank? You don't, because I'm not going to use the 75mm, right? I can start with the M10, make my way to the M18, and that's going to work just fine. So again, I need 4 tanks to research. Out of all of these, the only ones that I really would have to go for is not even the M8, only the M13 is the one that I need to go for so I can process down through the lineup. As for the rest of them, I will research the M2A2 and the M2 purely because they have the smallest amount of requirements to research, meaning it's going to take a little bit less time, and I can then push down to the Chaffee and to the first Shermans, and obviously make my way to tier 3, where the real fun begins. Yeah, Locust, Chaffee, doesn't matter. All the same stuff. Hope you enjoyed the video. And yeah, a new update coming very, very shortly, hopefully with a bit of gameplay in the background as well. Right now, I'm a little bit sketched with the whole hangar thing, but I think this is how an update video should be done. So you have an idea just how much progress one can do in, I guess, above average gameplay in under 6 hours. Cheers.